Hello everybody, this is Erica with Save On Designs, and I'm going to be showing you how to put a picture frame together. So this is one of my interchangeable picture frames. This one I've done landscape versus portrait. Somebody requested that, so it was a pretty easy thing to do, and I thought since I had that done, I'm going to show you guys how to put them together and some options you may have. So here we have all the pieces that are in the file. This is the smallest frame because that's the easiest for me to spread out here so everybody can see. We have the front frame. So this is the piece that you're going to want to cut out of whatever decorative material you're using. Then we have the inner pieces. So there's middle and back. And then there is an insert that fits perfectly in here, which we'll talk about here in a second. So first thing, once you get these cut, well, actually, first thing you want to do is decide what you're using it for. So in this case, I have these two pieces cut. One is 1/8 inch MDF, and this one is 1/16 inch MDF. And the reason I'm doing this, so your middle, whatever you're planning on doing with this, your middle needs to be big enough. If you're just using it for a photo frame, I would use a 1/16. Because when you put this together, that leaves plenty of room for that picture to slide in. If you're going to be doing something, I have a lot with some scripture, some sayings and things like that, you want the middle piece, middle part here, to be thicker than what you're going to put in there. So this is 1/8 inch Eco Wood. This does have a scripture. It's kind of a scrap piece that had some damage to it, so I'm just using it for an example. But when I slide that in, I'm trying to make that so you guys can see, it leaves that little bit of room there because I've got a 1/8 and a 1/16. If I just had the 1/8 in here, it's going to fit too tight and it's not going to slide in and out. So I wasn't sure what I was going to do with these frames, so I decided I would go ahead and make them both the 1/8 and 1/16. I am going to use, you can use 3M on these. I don't know, I would prefer just glue with MDF. That's just me. But I'm going to make my middle piece first because it's going to need a minute or two here to kind of adhere to itself. So I'm going to smear that glue on. I am just using Titebond multi-surface glue. Works really well with the MDF. I'm sure there's lots of options that would work well with the MDF. I'm going to line that up really carefully. This is always the challenge, is getting all those layers perfectly straight. And I will show you a little trick. This one, actually it was dipping down a little so the cut didn't go through all the way in my laser. And I kind of had to sand. There was a little bit that didn't pull off and I had to kind of break it. So I sanded it down, which left a nice little white bit instead of this darker. So I just went over it with a black dry erase marker. I had a brown one around here somewhere, which was probably a little better for this. Camouflaged it a little bit better. But that is definitely something, when you get that little white edge here or there, you can color it in so it doesn't stand out as much. I am going to go ahead and do my frame on here, and then we're going to clamp it down for a little bit. And same process, I am going to use this side. So I sprayed this down with frog juice. That's a product from Smoky Hill. This one turned out okay, so it just is kind of sealing the top. It's sort of a matte spray. I did one with poly as well. I think I prefer the poly, but that's just a matter of what you like. If you like the matte, or I think I did a matte as well, but the poly just seemed to soak in a little bit better, in my opinion. And I'm going to use these little clamps, lining this up. I will say When I do this, I usually let it sit for a little bit and kind of get tacky where it's at before I clamp it. And I'll show you why, because I already messed one up because I didn't do that. And I don't know if you can see, it slid just a little when I put the clamps on. I thought I had it lined up perfect and it slid just a bit, and now there's nothing I can do. I'm gonna have to kind of color that in. It's not so bad. I think it's salvageable, but I was a little bummed by that. So I usually let this sit so it's not gonna slide around too much. This glue dries pretty fast. And then I'm going to clamp those corners. Oh, yeah, I'm still sliding around quite a bit, but I'm going to clamp these corners. Try to make sure I'm all lined up. Just so we get that really good tight bond. So we don't want our stuff falling apart. And that looks pretty good. I don't see any edges moving around, so I'm going to set that aside. I'm going to talk about the back really quick. So the cut file does come with a little square scored and a lot of options on the size of material you're using. So I have this marked. I think it works for the Eco Woods. This has been the best size for the MDF, so I do have that marked in the file, which one has worked best for me for those sizes. And the one for the Cafe Woods that I did some backs with the Cafe Wood. And that's a little bit thicker, so I marked that one too. But if you have some other materials, there's a lot of options in there for that. This one, I'm just going to spread some glue on here. We're putting this with the opening down. And I'm just going to line that up. I am going to add a little glue to this piece as well, just so we are sure we get that good adhesion. And I'm just going to slide that in there, and we are going to let that sit. I probably shouldn't have done this till I get all the pieces put together, but we might be sitting here too long, and I wanted to show you all the steps. So we're going to set that aside. So these are MDF and those naturals from Smoky Hill. I also did one in acrylic, which is kind of a fun, different design. So this is a pattern ply. So the pattern ply is on the back. It's on clear acrylic. And if you order something like this from Smoky Hill, you need to select two-sided, and that's because it's printed on the back and you can see it through the front. And so this top part is just that smooth acrylic, and the back part is your pattern ply. I have not done a lot with different glues on pattern ply, but the acrylic glue that I use definitely ate through the pattern ply. So for this, I am using 3M. So this is a piece of black acrylic with 3M on both sides for my middle piece. And I just did 1/8 on this. So this one, I might just use as a picture frame. So I did 1/8. I could have done 1/16 if I just wanted to slide that photo in. But I thought it might be kind of fun to have this piece of clear acrylic, like a piece of glass on it. And then the picture could go back behind. So this is just that square cutout that's in the file. I'm going to use this fun little tool. It is a plastic razor blade. But I can usually get that edge on there, and this won't scratch your acrylic. So I can get these things off. So there is our clear acrylic that's going to act like glass. We love 3M. It's not perfect for every project, but definitely for something like this. And I'm going to be sure I'm getting it on that pattern ply side. Ask me how I know to double check that, because that has been something that has happened before. 3M does give you a little wiggle room. If you get it on, you can usually pull it off pretty easy if you haven't pushed down. So get that all lined up right where I want it. And then I am going to push down on that, and that's really going to activate that 3M adhesive. Now I have already done, oh, I got to take that off. I've already done my back piece. I did use acrylic glue for this because it was on the acrylic. I didn't have 3M. I could have cut this with just 3M on the one side. If you do use 3M, be sure you're only putting it on your middle piece. If you put it on your top piece, you're going to have this open bit that's going to be sticky, and same on the back. So your 3M would go on both sides of your middle piece if that's what you choose to use. And we're going to get this off. Take off my 3M adhesive, which I just peeled that all back up. Nice. Okay. And again, same process. Get that lined up just right. Oh, look at all those fun fingerprints. Acrylic definitely does show fingerprints. We'll have to clean that up. But now I've got this really cute little picture frame, and I can add that glass and put my picture behind it, still have plenty of room. This one I did miss on my file. This is why I test all my files, because sometimes I miss something or something's not going to cut just right. I forgot to add my little notch in the top like this one has. I didn't recut this. I decided that was just going to be how this one was. But the file is correct with that little notch at the top, and that's so you can get things in and out easier, why it's interchangeable. So let's take a look at our piece that we just glued. I'm going to take all these off. And we are going to put all this together. Like I said, I probably should have waited and done the back at the very end, because we're going to have a little more of a challenge because we've got that piece sticking out. Glue it on, line it up, and clamp it down. Oh yeah, that's sliding around. Actually, I'm going to turn those to the side so I can still set this up and show you. If you do have a little glue ooze out, that's not the end of the world. I usually let it dry just a little bit, and then I can scrape it off with my fingernail. If I try to do it now, it's going to kind of smear. So I let that just ball up a little bit. But I'm going to turn these so we can already use that easel. And that's going to sit there like that. And now I have a space in here to drop whatever I want, whether it be a picture with some acrylic or glass in front of it. You have all those options. So again, most important part is that middle and just making it thick enough. Glue two pieces together. I did this one. This was on one of the portrait ones, and this is 1/4 inch. I thought, well, maybe I could get away with that instead of the 1/8 and 1/16. It was a little thick and left much more of a gap in here that I thought was super visible, and I didn't really like that. So, but depending on what you're putting in the middle, that might work for you too. So we're going to let this dry up the rest of the way. I did show you this larger one. So this is the larger piece. And I'm just going to go ahead and show this one has a larger little bit on the back. And I do have those pieces ready. So we can put this on here. I did the larger just because it's going to have a little more stability there with it. These are moved up just enough that they are going to angle back about 12 inches, which according to Google is the optimum angle to view a photo frame at. Thank you, Google. And we're just going to line that up with the score lines that are on there. I'm going to add a little more glue. Slide that in there. Try to get the excess glue that I just smeared all over off. And line that up, and we'll set that off to dry. And I do have one more that I glued together, and I'll just show you because it's so pretty with these naturals prints. Purple leaves, I think is what this one's called. I'm not sure. But this one's been clamped for a little bit, so it's all ready to go for its backside as well. And I think that looks pretty awesome. So if you guys have any questions, absolutely let me know. And this file is for sale in my Etsy store if you are interested in it, or joining my group if you happened on this video not from my group, is Laser Love with Save On Designs. And we'd love to have you in the group if you're not already there. Thank you very much, guys. Bye.